Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, know not they control everything. Just want to thank you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. This is the weekly episode on the Vault every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and anywhere else in the world. We appreciate you for tuning in live or listening to replay. This is episode 221. What makes your trust public or private? We always appreciate everyone for tuning in live or listening to replay. We have a bunch of people that are listening from all around the world and as well in the States. We want to thank everybody for that. This is a great episode today. We have a bunch of emails always coming through. We appreciate everybody that emails the vault, whether it's showing love or appreciation for the content that we put out. People reaching out for a trustee training and everything else and above. So we always appreciate that. This is a media outlet source from people that are in the hunt, just like you, looking to protect their families, to grow their family estates and move from a private position, to move from a position of protection, and not just going and thinking that public school education is the answer, because it's not. And so we're definitely going to go over some very good info today. Uh, and I know a lot of people definitely are looking forward to this episode. Excuse me, PUB. And so we're just going to do our best to bring the best content out today that we can. We're going to start out with some basic news because we understand the times that we're living in, and people are living in fear, living scared. And if you haven't heard the saying, scared money doesn't make any money. So you can't sit out here and say, oh, you wonder why the marketplace is doing this or wonder why the marketplace is doing that. If you're watching the news and you're living in a fear-based economy, then you can understand why your bank account is dwindling, or you're seeing assets being depleted and depreciated instead of actually appreciating and growing. You cannot grow from a fear-based position. And so today's episode 221, what makes your trust private or public, is a great episode because so many people contact the vault and they say, oh, I'm in trust, I have a contract, can you look over it? And they don't understand that they're already in a flawed position. They don't understand that they're in a public position. So we're going to get to that. But we haven't done this in a long time, and we really want to do a news broadcasting on what's going on really from what we see in the marketplace, because there's a lot of mixed reviews out there. This whole, we're going to see a second wave. The economy is going to hit a second wave, and you're going to see people fall backwards. They say right now, 40% of commercial real estate is waiting to be defaulted. They say over 20 million homes are set aside for foreclosure. 20 million homes, ladies and gentlemen, in the United States. 20 million. Whether that number is off, if the vault doesn't need to report the accurate numbers, they need to give you an idea of what's going on. So when people say where are the opportunities, you can look for them. You don't wait for the news to give you the bad news. You look at the chaos as an opportunity, and that's what the vault has done for years. We saw this when the market was at all-time highs in December. We saw this in February. The wealth transfer is taking its toll again. It's already started. So we're going to share with you investors that actually are buying right now. So let's go ahead and talk about this gold situation. Gold's getting ready to hit what will be considered an all-time high again. For years, we've talked about buying gold and silver as a holding position for the family, and people have avoided it because they've let these idiots over the internet and on the news tell them that it's a non-valuable asset. It's something that you can't make money on. It's something that's not extra valuable. But it's gone up. See, you had your opportunity to get it real quick when it went to 11 for silver, or 17. Guess where silver's at today? The close on, what is it, 7/28, 2020. July 28, 2020, silver has closed at $24 in the States. And people are asking, oh, when should I buy silver? When should I buy gold? And it's pushing $2,000. We've had mentors tell us they bought gold at $300. We've had mentors tell us they got silver at $5, ladies and gentlemen. It's at $24. This is called asset appreciation. So if you're wondering where you can hide your wealth, we see where smart money has hid their wealth for years. But people want to follow the guys that are getting paid $30, $50, $70,000 to sit on news to read a script of failure and doom and gloom. Thanks everybody for tuning in live. Feel free to type in where you're listening from on the chat. Shout out to Mississippi for tuning in live. Feel free to always type in where you're listening from. We always like to hear where people are listening from. And shout out to all you all that are listening live in the chat. So let's go ahead and get back to this. We're going to talk about the facts, not the doom and gloom. So if the second wave is coming, if the market's doing so bad right now, why is Warren Buffett buying right now? You want to know why he's buying? Because the market is bottomed out. You buy low, sell high. Isn't that the rules? But for some odd reason, you got the idiots sitting on TV telling you that the second wave is coming. Why would Warren be buying if the second wave is coming? This is one of the best investors of our time. And he's sharing with you all, hey, smart money knows when to go in and get the money. You follow the money, the smart one, not the guys that got a job on TV. Shout out to Orlando. Shout out to Santa Barbara, California. Shout out to Oakland, California. Appreciate you all for tuning in live, listening to replay. Warren Buffett spent over $10 billion, they say, in 3 weeks. And people are asking, oh, there's a second wave coming. Oh, you didn't think Warren knew about the second wave, huh? You think Warren's research hasn't showed him that the second wave is coming? Apple. He's held one of the best stocks of all time. Apple. Ladies and gentlemen, eBay is reporting higher earnings right now because people are buying online. People say, oh, where do we put our money at right now? Clearly, there are some companies that are growing, that are not being affected wholeheartedly by the wave. Whether it's the first wave, second wave, third wave, you think this is going to be the last wave in your life? Where the market corrects itself, the stupid money leaves, and the smart money is here to play. Gold and silver is moving back up. That's a safe haven supposedly in history. And people question whether they should have bought it. You question whether you should buy it, right? Warren Buffett's not questioning whether he's going to buy it. Warren Buffett spent a ton of money right now. $3 billion, $10 billion actually. Let's move on. For everyone that has a 401k that contacts the vault, we finally got the information to bring you how it goes. Everybody wants to hate on Donald Trump, one of the best presidents of all time. One of them. He's not the only one. He's one of them. He passed the CARES Act, which did what? For everybody that wants to put their money in the safe haven or the 401k. Let's talk about that. The CARES Act helped you and allowed you to take your money out with minimal penalties. How does that work? The CARES Act, which went into effect in the spring, allows the so-called savers, which are losers, to withdraw up to $100,000 from their 401ks and waive 10% early withdrawal fee. So when you can be under 59 and a half. You got to do your research. You can't listen to idiots over the internet. You can't listen to guys that are just getting paid $30,000 and $60,000 that have no vested interest in your financial future. So you could have took up out to $100,000 penalty free, and you're wondering should you got in trustee training. That's what they're wondering. Oh man, I got $60,000. I got $100,000 in my 401k, but I can't afford trustee training. Why didn't you just take money out of the 401k with minimal penalties? A fraction of the savers took this money. 4% of the people, they say, actually withdrew $100,000. They say taxes still apply, but you can spread out the bill over 3 years. Wow. And people hate on the president that's in office right now. Someone that allowed them to take money from the so-called plan that once you get older, You think taxes are going to be higher when you retire than right now? You had an opportunity to advance your family's financial future. This is the same man that wanted to eliminate inheritance tax. The same tax that the wealthy put in place to make poor people and middle class people lose their wealth, passing it from one generation to the next. Who you think put that policy in place? The Democrats. They put that policy in place, trying to steal the wealth from you and your family. Let's make sure that the elite can't pass along money and get taxed out of wealth. And then you hear all the time, the wealthy don't pay taxes. They don't. Well, who's paying them? The people that have no entity in place or protection in place to pass wealth along properly from one generation to the next. And people don't know who's on their side and who's not. But good old Donald Trump said, I'm gonna try to eliminate inheritance tax. Oh, really? So who's that gonna help? Donald's family? He's in trust. What about the politicians that are telling you that? They're in trust. But people wanted to hate on them. Got past that one real quick. Let's talk about the healthcare economy right now. Booming. Why? Because people are scared. People's emotions are dictating financial interest right now. So what makes your trust private or public? It's real simple. Was it created under the state? Are you utilizing state laws? Or are you utilizing the right to contract? Ladies and gentlemen, the Vault provides trustee training because it's a private mentoring program. We already know you're not going to get the information unless you have a private mentor or unless a private community of families educate you on it. We share with our trustees. The only way wealth and this private information is passed along is through a private manual or a private mentor. But people contact the Vault all the time and they say, hey, I got a trust. I got my own trust set up. That's called a public trust. You want to know why it's public? Because it's yours. We get people contacting the Vault all the time. Oh, I got a trust. We ask them. And they say, but I'm the trustee. Somebody created it for me, but I'm the trustee. Oh, yeah? Who created the trust? Who's the grantor? Well, I don't know that. We already know. You're public. You want us to repeat it? Oh, I got a trust created for me. Some guy over the internet. Somebody over the internet created my trust. But I'm the trustee. But they said it was irrevocable. And I'm the grantor. But I didn't share the position. I share the position as a trustee. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conversation that we get coming to the Vault all the time. What makes your trust private or public? Did you create it? Well, I don't know who created it. You're right, because you're public. When you come into the private, you learn private processes. You have to invest in your private education. It can't be free. Well, I paid the guy $5,000. I paid the guy $10,000. I paid the guy $30,000. And guess what? Did they educate you on the positions? Appreciate Santa Barbara. We got quite a few people listening from Santa Barbara. Did you get educated on trusteeship? You want to know why you didn't get educated on trusteeship? Because you're public. In the public, that's why people contact us all the time. Oh, I'm the trustee over my government name. How you the trustee over your government name? The public name. You're not private. You're public. That's what makes the trust forever and more public. Well, look, man, I got my name. I put it into a private trust. Hold on. You took the public name? Yeah, I took the public name and put it into a private trust. And so I'm private now, right? I'm moving from a private position, right? I put it in another trust. Oh, really? Who created the trust? I created it. Right. You're public. I'm sorry that the gurus over the internet put you in an ill position. That's why the vault provides trustee training. That's what we do. It's trustee training. It's not create a trust for you. Oh man. Yeah. So you got somebody to sell you a UCC packet. Some UCC packet was supposed to protect something that was already private. But they didn't share with you the UCC's public. Really? Hold on. The UCC is public. Ladies and gentlemen, where does the UCC comes from? It comes from the public. The Uniform Commercial Code. See, when you come into the private, commercial means public. That's what trustees get educated in. We don't need to lie to you. So, the UCC is public because it's commercial? Right. You wasted your time. You wasted your money. If you were looking to go private. If you're looking to go private, you got to invest in your private education with a private mentor or a private system. Why? Because the private is working just fine. With or without you. If you don't invest in your private education, you will remain in the public. Why? Because the private is a secret. It's not shared over the internet. It's not some UCC or SPC packet. Secured party creditor is the furthest thing from a private process. Hold on. You want us to repeat it for the guys that are cheating you out of your money? The UCC, the SPC is not a private process. So the gurus of the internet are just talking shit. That's what they're doing. They're not doing anything but making money off of people's weakness and their lack of diligence on research. People come to us all the time. Oh man, my name is security. My name, the birth certificate is worth something. How? Why? We still got people over the internet sharing with you. Man, the public and private debts are all paid for by the Federal Reserve. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how the vault does it. It's called accurate and demonstrable knowledge. Not one of them has demonstrated discharge. The vault has remained private from the beginning. It's trustee training. It's not sell you a packet to make you think that you're going to go private by putting together the SPC packet. And then what? You're not making any money. Hold on. That's what we're supposed to do in the private? Ladies and gentlemen, if you think the private has not transferred over $6 trillion plus in the private, trillions, since the pandemic has gone on, that's why you're in the public, watching the news, and you think the market is going backwards. That's why gold's up. That's why silver's up. And then you hear these crazy predictions. Oh, gold's going to go out of the roof. And silver's going to go out of the roof. And then there's going to be a second wave. How? When? And are you prepared? Investments, the opportunities are abounding right now. The private is thriving. The public, they're living in fear. What makes your trust private or public? It's where it originated from. Somebody over the internet sold you a trust. Your lawyer sold you a trust. The reason why it's not private is because you didn't need a lawyer to do it. Lawyers are public. People contact the vault all the time thinking they're slick. Oh man, let me just contact Trust Christian. We're going to learn the square situation. We're going to learn the process. We're going to get our consultation. And then guess what? They don't even enroll. What's the point of getting a consultation and you don't even enroll? I'm going to still do my research. Where? It's private. That's why you get a private consultation. Man, we just going to think about it. Think about what? Think about whether you want to go private. Don't waste your money. Because that's what you did. You inquired
about something you didn't have the nuts for. You didn't have the guts for your family, because you knew you were going to have to take responsibility now for your family's financial future. And that means you're going to have to invest in it. And it's not going to be cheap. Why? The public's free. Everything in the public's free. You got public school. Everything's free in the public, right? You got welfare. You're getting what is it? What are these stimulus package checks? These corporations are taking money. Corporations can file bankruptcy. You know how many people in the public are scared to file bankruptcy? Oh man, don't do that, man. You know, you're going to ruin your life if you file bankruptcy. Every corporation in the public is completely okay with filing bankruptcy. Why? Who's the owner of Google, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know them? Oh, I forgot. Oh, we forgot. Alphabet A, Alphabet B, Alphabet C. Oh, hold on. That's how it works? Yes. They're private. They're not public. So, of course, the company can go bankrupt. That's how you know if you have a public or private trust. The owner's not disclosed. Simple as that. So, how do you get started? You invest in your private education. And you don't say, oh, $100 for a consultation is a lot of money. $200 a lot of money. Guess what? If that's the case, this environment is not for you. The private is not for you. If you think that it's going to be cheap and free, listen to the episodes on the vault. That's it. Until you get your finances in a position where you actually take your family financial future seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, contact a private attorney. How come people don't do that when they contact the vault? How come they don't go to a private attorney first? We share that with people all the time. You want to know why? Because they're called private. They're not on Google. They're not being advertised. And when you contact them, they're not cheap like the public lawyers. Why? Because not all lawyers are created equal. Lawyers and the public go to different schools. Not all the schools are created equal. Well, it's the same thing between the public and the private. The education, the contracts that you get, they're not created equal. It's just that simple. So when you do decide to invest in your private education, yes, you are getting a superior education. And why delay it when you don't know how long the education is going to be available? The private has no need for public citizens. Why? Because they're private. The public is considered to be educated by the Rockefeller Foundation through the dumbing down effect, through the Board of Education. Bottom line. Ladies and gentlemen, no one said this process was going to be easy for you to go private. But if you want to protect your family's assets and make sure you don't have to deal with inheritance tax because you're not in a proper position, you got to invest some of your shekels. Bottom line. And if you don't invest in your family's private financial education, stay in the public where it's doom and gloom. And you think the second wave is coming. Ladies and gentlemen, we laugh at the public from the private. We laugh because they don't have a proper financial education. A proper financial education comes from investing in it. You have to invest in your private education. That's why it's called Trustee Training. That's what makes your trust private. It's because you invested in your private education so you can be in a proper position and not contacting the vault talking about, can you read the private contract supposedly that was created for us by somebody over the internet or a public lawyer. Bottom line. Because guess what, in the private, we don't need you. And if you were in a private position, you wouldn't need anybody either. You wouldn't need anybody to look over your contract. Why? Because you're private. You would already know that the contract is private because it doesn't involve any outside parties other than the parties that created it. So how are we going to create the private trust, Christian, if We're coming from the public. You got to invest in your private education. That's how. Bottom line. See, there's a public system and a private system. It's up to you what you're going to keep living your life by. The public system or the private system. It's up to you. But it's no need to contact the vault for a consultation to say, yeah, we're going to think about it. We're going to go back to the SPC universities and see, hey, these gurus over the internet, you know, they're going to do it for me. They're going to create the contract for me. They're telling me I got to do the SPC packet. How does the SPC packet tie to the private trust? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You don't need to reach out to the vault any longer and ask, how is the SPC dealing with the private trust? They don't go together. It's SPC, universe, what is it? Who gives a rip? It's no need to contact the vault with SPC or UCC when you're dealing with the private. Why? Because it's public. Keep that nonsense over there. Bottom line. Bottom line. You're either going to invest in your private education as a trustee and learn how to be in a proper position, or you're going to keep trying to go through a paperwork process. Oh, what they call it? I'm going through the administrative process. The administrative process. The administrative process for what? To protect your family? To grow your family's wealth from the proper private position? Or are you going to sit around and let the gurus on the internet tell you, hey, contact the university? Oh, yeah. And we're going to save you and protect you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're doing it from a position of the public. Because in the private, you're not doing business in your name. It's private. Own nothing, control everything. You're not worried about your name owning anything. Why? Because you control it, like you've been doing already. You're doing it from the proper fiduciary position. A trustee. Trustee training. Bottom line. But people want people to sound like their uncle. Sound like their daddy. People want a daddy. That's what they want. They want a leader. When you're in private trustee training, you got to find your own leader. People contact the vault and say, oh, Trust Christian, are you going to find a lawyer for us? Are you going to find an accountant for us when we enroll in trustee training? No. You're going to find the lawyer. You're going to find the accountant. Why? Because it's trustee training. You hire the lawyers. You hire the accountants. That's true trusteeship. Not having some guru give you half the information and then you're still not making any money or building wealth from the proper position. Ladies and gentlemen, you either invest in your private education or you're going to stay with your public one. Bottom line. We appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to the replay. It's a pleasure to serve. We've been serving for years. Bottom line. And we're happy to do so until we're moving on. Because that's what it's about. This was to have a public conversation about things that when you even go look at business structures on the public side, where do they mention trust? Why don't they mention it? Because you're in the public. That's why you got to invest in your private education. Because they're not talking about it in the public. It's minimal information about it. But it's over 300, 500 years old. It's a contract. The United States was set up on that contract. People are literally trying to tear down a system that they want to get into. People want to enroll into the private trustee training, but they want to get rid of the United States contract, the Constitution. Oh, it's a fraud. It's an artificial entity. No shit, Sherlock. It's a private contract. It's a contract. The same thing that you want to enroll in. Trustee training. The same thing that you want to do. You want to go private, but you're knocking a system that upholds contracts. The same system that upholds private contracts at that. This is the problem. What people listening to people over the internet not doing their due diligence. Not wanting to go all in on their private education. Think about the cognitive dissonance that people have in the public. They hear about the private and they don't go all in, but they wanted to go private. They say they want to go private, but they didn't go private. They're still trying to use public processes. Oh, I got a public remedy. There's no money. That's called broke people mentality. Stay in the public. Oh, there's no money. That's why you're in the public. Because in the private, we understand you have to grow wealth. Wealth is hard, tangible assets. Period. Bottom line. Private trust says it's a proper financial education. And it's not going to come from the public. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is your opportunity to even ask these questions about the public and private trust. What we deem as a question of answering, at least on the public side at this point. So you all can feel free to type into the chat a question about the public and private trust that these guys done put you all in on the public side. We already know a bunch of you got ripped off. And we get the emails all the time. Oh man, I don't know if my trust is public or private. Well, you already know you're public. If you don't know who created the trust, you're public. If you don't know the positions in trust, you're public. That's why you enroll in trustee training. Bottom line. So you can have a proper private financial education. A resource. We're not even the all and be all. See, these guys over the internet are touting that they're everything. Private trustee training is a continuing education program. If you think the minimal investment of $100, $200, $5,000, $10,000 is a lot of money, don't go private. Why? Go because the price gonna add up. It's gonna get expensive. It's not even expensive. It's gonna add up. People in private trust are holding trillions of dollars. You think Bill Gates and these guys on the public side are the richest people because they're in Forbes? You're fooling yourself. Private trust don't allow people to be on Forbes. Sorry. So who would be the grantor of the private trust? We got a question that says, who would be the grantor of the private trust? A private party. That's who. But if it's you, then you own it. And most people don't know that that's a living trust. That's a public trust. Well, hold on. The guru, here we go. The guru said that it's irrevocable. Okay, so you were the grantor. It's irrevocable. And you're the trustee. Does that make any sense? It's called go get your money back because you just got ripped off. That's what just happened. So who would be the grantor? When you enroll in private trustee training, that's what you learn. It's investing in your private education. Once again, we're encouraging questions. Feel free. Someone says, would that be a self-settled trust if I own it? Ladies and gentlemen, you can Google it. It's called the Living Trust. Another question. How and when the executive trustee interfaces with the public correctly? And that's another thing. When you enroll in trustee training, you learn that you got to have a Black's Law dictionary. When you enroll in trustee training, we keep it simple. You got all these different terms in trusteeship. Grantor, settler. People say, oh, I'm the executive trustee. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why trustee training was truly created was because it's not about you as the administrating trustee. It's about your successors. See, we understand that it's not about you as the trustee. It's about the successors having a manual, having a system in place for them to administer the wealth for the second and third generation. Because wealth isn't even in trust, the wealth is lost second or third generation. Easy, just like that. Why? Because there wasn't a manual, which we provide in trustee training, in education, that's what it's called, private trustee training, or private community that you have access to other trustees that can help you and your family when something happens to you. Now you have an environment of successor trustees that you can also have elected possibly if something happens to you. But these gurus over the internet want to sell you a trust, and then guess what? How come they not your successor trustee? Someone says, how do you operate the private trust? How do you operate on the private trust? Should I be executive or should someone else hold that position? Public questions. How do you operate a private trust? As a trustee, should I be the executive or should someone else be in that position? Own nothing, control everything. So should someone else be in that position? Own nothing, control everything. Bottom line. Why would you? That's what the government is. That's why people are accepting welfare checks right now from the government. Because the government's the trustee over their financial future. The government doesn't make anything. They don't make a product. They don't make a service. Supposedly, people paid into the Social Security Administration, and it's called the Social Security Administration Trust. But you're the beneficiary right now. So clearly, you ain't the trustee. And you gave up that position of your life, of your name, of your family name. And until you pull up your britches and put your big girl pants on or put your big boy pants on, you're right. Someone else holds that position. Well, what about I'm the executive of the estate? What estate? The estate that my family created. My family name. Okay. Did you create the trust once again? Look, I'm getting confused. I don't know how to do it. Once again, you either enrolling in your private education so you can learn trusteeship, or you're going to stay in the public where the information is lukewarm. And you know the story. You either be private or public. Otherwise, you're going to be lukewarm and get spewed out. Barbecue or mildew. You're going to get run over. Because there's so much misinformation over the internet. You have to enroll in a private system. You have to take a risk. Ladies and gentlemen, this information is for people that are willing to take a risk. If you're not willing to take a risk, stay in the public. Because the private is all about risk. That's why Warren Buffett was willing to lose money, and he's back in the market. When are you supposed to buy? When it's low. Warren just put $10 billion in the market. What else did he buy? He bought Bank of America. Why would he buy a bank? Shares of a bank? Because it was low. But supposedly the second wave is coming. So if the second wave is coming, hold on, does that mean it's going to go lower or higher? Clearly Warren has good analytics to let you know that it's bottomed out. But these goofballs over the internet and on TV that have jobs, $30,000 journalists, right? Right. They got paid. They literally are reading off a teleprompter. People taking advice from those people. And then they got a disclaimer that comes across the screen and says, "Oh, we're not giving you financial information. We're not held liable for that information that we're giving you." Are you serious? Think about it. Somebody just asked the question, would you give away someone else's executive position over your private family's estate for analytics and research? How many people, how many of you all are doing that? To your financial advisor. Someone says, is the trust indenture is the private contract, correct? The trust indenture. It can be. Once again, If you enroll in private trustee training, you understand that the contract makes the law. But if it's not correctly drafted in a private capacity, then it's what? It's public. So, are you going to get what you want us to start reading the public contract over the air? You want us to start reading the private contract over the air? How would it be private if we read it over the public airway? Let's just go ahead and ask that question. Can you read the private contract over the public airway? Then how would it be public? That's why the guys over the internet are goofballs. Oh man, it's not a big deal, man. Just, contact us and we'll get you a contract. We'll create it for you. Right. If the trust makes the law, why are you using public law? We don't use the public law. The public law says what? They respect privacy. They respect it. They won't impair the obligation of a private contract. Why? Because the parties that created it were without the government first. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you all for tuning in live, listening to replay. We definitely are open to answering questions. Not every question is even worth answering. Some people are typing in fragmented questions into the chat. This is for you all, ladies and gentlemen. Trustee training could end tomorrow. We will be perfectly fine. But there are many families that want to go private. Why? You have a right. They say it in the Constitution. They won't impair the obligation of a contract. You have the right to privacy. Privacy is not going anywhere. Bottom line. Oh man, the government's being intrusive. They're coming in. No, they're not. They're just putting more public laws in place for public people. So it's up to you all to invest in your private education. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Feel free to let us know where you're listening from, or type into the chat a quality question. Other than that, you all can reach out Christian at Trust Christian. We do provide a resource once you all get in trustee training or enroll in trustee training. You all, we provided Cornell, the trader. You all can grow your family's wealth from a private position of trading, just like all the rest of the wealthy people are doing, from a private position. You all can contact us Christian at trustchristian.com. We have another trading webinar coming up. It puts you in a position where you own nothing, control everything. Bottom line, you don't have to do it through a court. It's up to you whether you do that. Your privacy is protected. But you got to invest in your education first and stop trying to get the blue pill. Stop trying to get the shortcut to your freedom. On the private side, we're free. On the public side, people are public servants, public slaves. Bottom line, the government doesn't make anything. But people have tied their corporations to the public getting free money. How you going to get free money? There is no such thing as free money. Well, we don't got to pay it back for a while. Right, now you got a bond on your head. Now you got a bond on the company. People say, oh, there's no such thing as money. That's what they say on the public side. The private side, we're growing wealth exponentially. And we're excited about doing that. We'll see you all on the private side. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Christian at Trust Christian. Feel free to reach out. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.